Hey everyone, I recently turned 30 years old, so I figured it would be helpful if I were to document some of the most important lessons I learned in my 20s, and they are becoming comfortable in my own skin, living in alignment with myself, and choosing people who also choose me. To me, these are probably the three most important lessons I learned throughout my 20s, and unfortunately, some of them took me rather long to learn, and I really wish I'd learned them sooner. So if you are someone in your early 20s or even younger than that and you are stumbling upon this video, please practice these things as soon as possible. Don't make the mistake of waiting, because seriously, they will help you tremendously. So let's dive into it. I'll break down each of these individually. So the first one is becoming comfortable in your own skin. This is incredibly powerful because a lot of insecurities stem from us not being comfortable in our own skin, not really liking us as we are, not loving ourselves, and not even being our own friend. These are all issues, because if you really want to have an advantage when going through life, and heck, I even often call it almost like a cheat code, what you want to work on is being able to be more comfortable in your own skin, which basically just means accepting yourself as you are and not judging yourself all the time for being imperfect and flawed, because that's the way everyone is, right? There isn't a single person on this planet who is an exception to that rule. There isn't anyone out there who's perfect. Nobody, even the people who appear perfect, like all those fancy celebrities and whatnot who look really calm and composed all the time, they're not perfect. They have a ton of flaws. They're just really good at hiding them. So if you want to have an advantage in life, become comfortable in your own skin. And the way you could do that is by practicing just being nicer to yourself with your thoughts. You kind of want to think of this almost like how you treat your really close friends. You don't beat them up, you're not mean to them, right? Like, sure, you may joke around with them, but you're not actually going to be rude to them. You're not going to try to disempower them and put them down, right? So why would you do that to yourself? We're all imperfect. We all have flaws. We especially know our flaws really well because, hey, we're in our own bodies, we're in our own minds, we know everything that's wrong with us, at least if you have a high level of self-awareness. So we can often be our own worst enemies, our own worst critics, because we know all these things. But the people out there around us may not actually know them, because sometimes they may not even see some of our insecurities. So it's not really helpful if we spend a lot of our time beating ourselves up and being incredibly hard on ourselves over things that other people may not even notice or be aware of. So take that into account and realize that there really isn't all that much benefit to you being abnormally hard on yourself. In fact, the only time that being hard on yourself is really all that useful, for the most part, is when you have goals that you want to accomplish and you're not taking any action towards them and you're allowing yourself to be lazy and unmotivated. Then, yeah, by all means, be hard on yourself, because you're not actually making your life better, you're getting in your own way. But when we're not getting in our own way like that, there's really not much benefit in being abnormally hard on ourselves, on beating ourselves up all the time, on looking at ourselves in the mirror and saying, oh wow, I wish I was someone else, I don't look good, I have all these flaws, and just don't do that. So try to train yourself to be more positive with your thinking, with the way that you talk to yourself. Don't beat yourself up, don't notice only your flaws, try to chime in with more of your strengths as well, more of your good qualities. Remind yourself of them, because we all have plenty of them, right? Even if you don't think you have any good qualities, I can tell you right now, that's because you've been conditioned to believe you don't. You've allowed that inner critic to take over, because all of us have good qualities, every single one of us. So focus on them more. Do not allow that inner critic to take over. Reject it. Realize that that voice often doesn't even come from ourselves. It comes from society, because we wouldn't think that way if we weren't conditioned to, right? You don't see any babies in the world doubting themselves, right? Like, if you have ever watched a baby try to learn how to walk, they don't doubt themselves at all. They just keep trying, they fall, they get up again, they try again, they keep going until they finally are able to walk. You never once see them psyching themselves out and showing any signs of them thinking that they can't do it. I mean, it would be difficult to tell that because babies they're not verbal, but you still don't see evidence of them doubting themselves. You don't see them give up. They keep going. So I'm very much convinced that we do not come into this world doubting ourselves. I believe that is learned behavior. I believe it's something we learn when we're young and our parents don't believe in us, our teachers don't, our school peers don't, and you may have even had bullies and whatnot. I believe it's trained behavior for us to doubt ourselves and not believe in ourselves. It's from all these people who were around us when we were growing up who weren't supportive or weren't able to meet our needs. So realize that and know that you can reject that way of thinking. You can reject constantly focusing on all of your insecurities and flaws and whatnot, and start just accepting yourself for the flawed human being that you are. It's okay. I'm flawed. I'm making this video to help you guys. I know that I'm not perfect. I've got a ton of flaws and a lot of insecurities I'm still working on. But that's okay. It's part of what makes us all human, right? If any of us were perfect, we'd almost seem like an alien to everyone else, because we all know we're not perfect. That's the way humans are. So give yourself some slack and stop acting like you need to be this amazing, perfect person. You don't. You can be flawed as hell. The important thing is that you just understand that and you accept it and you're okay with it. And that will allow you to be comfortable in your own skin and not care so much about getting rejected or other people making fun of you or whatever it may be, because you'll accept yourself, and the outside world at that point doesn't matter so much what they think of you, because so long as you have that rock solid mentality, that rock solid foundation in who you are, the whole world could be against you and it wouldn't faze you at all. So being comfortable in your own skin is incredibly powerful. So now that that first one is out of the way, let's move on to the second thing that I learned in my 20s that's incredibly powerful, which is living in alignment with yourself. This basically ties in with becoming more comfortable in your own skin, because you kind of need that to some extent to lay a foundation for living in alignment with yourself. Not wholly, but it really does help to already have that covered or to be working on it if you want to live in alignment. Because living in alignment often means going against the crowd, going against what your mom or your friends or your significant other wants for you, what society may even want for you. Because living in alignment means doing what speaks to you. And in order to do that, you often do need to be a bit comfortable in your own skin, because that will give you the courage to keep going and keep doing your own thing, even when you have other people doubting you or saying, I don't think that's right move for you to make it. Yeah, so you really want to work on just having that confidence in yourself first and foremost, but then you can now begin practicing this incredibly powerful thing, which is basically ensuring that you curate your life to be what you actually want it to be. Do not listen to what everyone else is telling you should do, because often what other people have done may either not work for you, or it may not even be what you actually want. It may not be what will make you content or maybe even happy. You shouldn't really chase happiness because it tends to be a rather fleeting emotion, but you can chase contentment, because contentment basically just means feeling good in almost any moment. Not maybe ecstatic like you would be if you were happy all the time, but you feel good, which means you're not feeling bad. And that's what you want. Contentment is basically just being good in the present moment, thinking that everything is the way that you really want it to be. You wouldn't really change all that much. So seek contentment. And you can gain contentment by doing the things that speak to you, creating a life that really is in alignment with you, which often means being more honest and authentic with other people, because other people can help you create the life you want if you just speak it to them, right? Like, I have some amazing friends and I've told them what I want my life to be like, and some of them even help me with it. Like, they literally will send opportunities my way and that sort of thing, whether it be with jobs or even women. So there you go. If you just tell other people, if you just put it out there what you're looking for, and you make sure that what you're looking for is in alignment with you, other people can help you get it. That's an incredibly powerful thing. But again, you have to understand that sometimes this will mean that you may need to get new friends or stop spending so much time around your family members, because sometimes people can kind of hold you back, maybe not by conscious intent, but just something that others can often do, because sometimes seeing you rise may actually trigger their insecurities, so they'll want to hold you down in that way. Sometimes it's because they literally just think that a different route is better for you, which that's often what our parents may end up doing, right? They'll say, oh, you're smart enough to be an engineer or a doctor or whatever, so why are you choosing this art path? That doesn't make any sense. You won't make any money, you won't be happy, that kind of thing, right? Like, I had good enough grades, I probably could have done anything I set my mind to, but I don't want to do that, because none of those things really appeal to me. What I really want to do with my life is help other people, which is why I make these videos. I've already talked to my parents about this, and yeah, originally they kind of convinced me to go down the engineering path, and then thankfully when I was probably around 2021, I realized I didn't want to do that. I realized I wanted to go more the business route, because I realized that business is a great medium to help other people. And it kind of gave me some skills that I use now, like communication skills, which allows me to talk to my phone as if I'm talking to a bunch of people in front of me. Things like that just have helped me on this journey. I also went down the entrepreneurship route to learn how to start my own business, so I have that knowledge as well. But again, that was from me living in alignment with myself, realizing that I didn't want to do the engineering route, even though I could, because I realized it was me doing it for my family and not so much because I actually wanted to do it. So make sure you do this with your own life. Live in alignment with yourself. I really like to remind people, because so often we forget how incredibly special it is that you exist. Like, really, think about that. There could have been nothing in existence in this universe, nothing at all. And we wouldn't know, right? Because we wouldn't exist to even be aware that there was nothing. And yet we're here, and everything else in the universe that we know of exists as well. That's incredibly special. We don't know how this all is here. People have all their theories and whatnot, but at the end of the day, we can't prove any of it. We have no freaking clue why any of this exists and why we exist. But we don't really need to understand it. The important thing is that don't waste this opportunity, okay? Live in alignment with yourself. Do what you want to do, because we don't know whether or not we're guaranteed another opportunity like this. A lot of people believe that there's afterlife and whatnot, reincarnation. We don't know. Again, we can't prove any of it. So as far as we know, this may be your one opportunity to experience being a human being on this beautiful planet we call Earth, in this beautiful universe. So don't waste it by living according to what everybody else wants for you and not what you truly want for yourself. So now that I've shared the second one with you, living in alignment with yourself, let's move on to my third and final important life lesson that I learned in my 20s, which is choosing people who also choose you. And this applies for everything out there, for every kind of relationship, not just romantic, but also your friends and even your family members and maybe even your coworkers. You really want to focus on surrounding yourself with people who choose you as much as you choose them. And that basically means people who reciprocate, people who like having you in their life enough that they put in effort and energy to keep you in their life as well. People who, where you try to hang out with them, if maybe they're busy that day, they throw out another option so that you can still see them. People who will be there for you during your special moments, like your birthday milestones. Like, I had a bunch of people at my 30th birthday dinner, which was a lot of fun. People who will basically just be there to celebrate with you because they really care about you. You want to surround yourself with people like this. And I would say this rule is especially important when it comes to dating, because so often you'll end up seeing people who are so insecure, so afraid of being alone, that they chase other people. Even when they've been rejected, they keep pursuing that person. Like, once you get really comfortable in your own skin and you really focus on practicing this lesson of choosing people who also choose you, you will never want to chase someone ever again. It won't be appealing to you at all. Why? Because as soon as you realize that you're chasing someone, what does it tell you? That they're not choosing you. Why would you ever want to go after someone who is not down with you? Someone who is making you chase them because they're that disinterested in you. They don't care about you enough to want to keep you in their life. Why would you chase them? There's no point in it, right? If they don't want you in their life, then do them a favor and walk out the door and leave them behind. You should not want to be a part of their life either. You shouldn't want them to be in your life. That's the important thing about choosing people who also choose you. It protects your time and energy. And your time, you can never get more of that, right? So you don't want to be wasting it on the wrong people. And while you can make the argument that we almost always learn something whenever we invest time in someone, especially romantically, still there are ways of being a bit more conscious and smart about it, because sometimes you can waste a lot of time on the wrong person, like maybe even 5 years or so on a relationship with someone who truly isn't down for you or isn't really a great fit for you. So you want to get good at just choosing people who you can tell also really care about you, people who are choosing you just the same amount as you're choosing them, or somewhere close, right? Because sometimes we may be a bit more head over heels than they are, but usually you can tell when someone wants to include you in their life because they'll put in effort, they'll reciprocate. Those are the important things, right? That's, like I said earlier, where you try to reach out to spend time with someone and they're busy that day, but then they offer a new time, a new day to meet. They don't just say, oh, I'm busy that day, and leave it at that, and then they never try to make plans with you further. No, they will say that they can't do that day and then offer a new one because they still want to see you. So pay attention for that, and especially practice this with dating. Like, I'm at the point where if I reach out to a woman and she's busy and she doesn't offer a new time to meet up, it almost makes me want to stop investing time in her. I'll usually give her a second chance, but after that, if a second time, if she's busy and she doesn't throw out a new day, I usually won't even keep reaching out to her anymore, because I'm like, okay, she clearly is not all that interested in me, because if she was, she would probably the first time have immediately thrown out another date for us to meet up. Because that's usually what people do when they're really interested in you. That's been my own experience. Whether or not it's like a romantic interest or friends who are really down with you and want to spend time with you, they will try to meet up with you, which means they are not going to let things just fall through the cracks and say, oh, I'm super busy, I can't see you. They'll say, oh, I'm super busy, I can't see you this week, but let's try next week. And then they'll maybe give you a day or something. And that's how you know that this is someone who actually cares about you, and probably someone you should keep in your life as well. So there you go. You just want to focus on choosing people who also choose you for all your relationships, your family, your friends, and especially romantic interests. And just make sure that you're not chasing people and that you're not keeping people in your life who don't truly care about you. It's really important. And even another bonus tip I may add in here, try to surround yourself with people who are able to celebrate with you as well, not people who become like envious or jealous of you when you're celebrating a milestone. Like, let's say you're hitting your gym goals or something, or your career goals, or even your romantic goals, and then you have friends who are acting weird about it and you can tell they're jealous. You probably don't want friends like that in your life, because your friends shouldn't be jealous of you. They should be happy for you and supportive of you. So there you go, just an added little bonus in there that I also learned in my 20s. You just really want to surround yourself with good people for all the relationships in your life. It's incredibly important, because relationships are arguably one of the most important things in our lives. They're one of the greatest sources of meaning and fulfillment. So just make sure you're very picky with them and very conscious about who you choose to surround yourself with. So that's pretty much it. That's all I have for you in this video. I really hope that you enjoyed these tips. Just to go over them again, it's becoming comfortable in your own skin, living in alignment with yourself, and choosing people who also choose you. These were the most important life lessons I learned in my 20s, so I truly hope you take them to heart and start practicing these things yourself, because I guarantee they will elevate your life. They will make things a lot better. And sometimes practicing these things could potentially lead to you being a bit lonely for a while, but that may be because you're upgrading the people in your life, right? You're finding better people to surround yourself with, and that's okay. I certainly went through those moments myself where I realized that the people I had around me weren't exactly who I wanted, so I let go of them and spent a lot of time trying to find better people to surround myself with, and it really paid off, even though there were a few moments in there where things weren't all that great, because yeah, I did feel kind of alone. But it's better to feel alone while you're working on upgrading your life than to feel alone because you're surrounded by all these people you can't connect with, all these friends who are just kind of superficial level friends, and you're not really on the same wavelength, and they may not be doing all that much with their lives, whereas you're trying to become the best version of yourself. And yeah, so take it from me, it's worth it to be alone for a little bit if it means that you're upgrading who you keep in your life. But yeah, I truly hope that these tips were helpful. Feel free to let me know in the comment section below which one is your favorite, and I truly hope that you guys practice these things and that you find that they really are life-changing. That's all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you really liked it, feel free to throw a thumbs up on it. It helps me with the algorithm. If you aren't already subscribed, feel free to do that for more videos like this, and I will see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci!